never shake the feeling of being an orphan. And then comes the realization that other than your brothers and sisters, you have no family left. That's what Adriana and Margaret faced in Flowers from Our Father by Carl L. Williams. You just about ruined the memorial service. You know that, don't you?
Oh, gee. I thought maybe it was ruined by the fact our father was dead.
You're not the only one that cared for him.
Loved him. The word is love. But if you think caring's enough, maybe chose the right word for how you felt.
No, actually, I didn't.
People care for friends and neighbors and household pets. But a father's someone you love.
I know you loved him. Everyone knew that. But that doesn't mean that everyone felt the same way.
That was pretty plain, wasn't it? From all the, what should I call them? Tepid remarks? Lukewarm testimonials? I wonder why they even came at all if they didn't feel any strong about him than that.
They came to show respect for the dead.
Too bad they never showed any respect for the living. Those people were never his friends. Ever.
Yes, they were. They just didn't have the same emotional attachment to him as you did. You should be smart enough to realize that and wise enough to accept it.
But I don't accept it. Not at all. That's why I had to get out of there.
Well, you could have skipped all the acid little remarks you made on the way out.
I couldn't help it. They're all so smug sitting there, so superior to the man they always made jokes about him being off in his own little world. And there they were, making half-hearted efforts to say things they didn't really believe. And that's what I told them. It was just the truth. And I'm going to miss him 1,000 times more than they will. More than anyone.
Adriana, I realize it's terribly difficult for you. You've never lived without him, but I have, for many years now. And to be honest, many years before I moved away.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I was already 18 when Mother died. You were half my age. When I took off for college, Dad suddenly realized he had to pay attention to his last little girl. You were all the family he had left.
If only Mother hadn't died.
If she hadn't, Dad would have never taken up the responsibility of raising you, of tending to your needs, of actually talking to you, and not being in his own little academic world.
It wasn't little at all. It was immense and filled with ideas.
Professors of philosophy are always filled with immense ideas that serve no practical purpose. It was mainly exotic nonsense.
No, it wasn't.
Now all those grand and useless ideas will be extinguished as if they never existed.
I guess that's how you think of Dad, too. Just dead as if he never lived.
No. It's a little more complicated than that.
Margaret, he taught me so much. All those ideas you dismiss, we live in them every day. Ideas like time, the very concept of time passing. One night, Dad went into his long discourse about the relativity of time, and how the relativity of time is the essence and definition of time. It was amazing.
What's amazing isn't what he said, but that he actually talked to you. Because whatever time is, it's something he didn't spend very much with me.
I'm sorry if you didn't.
He must have really changed after it was just the two of you here.
We learned a lot about each other, but no one else ever took him seriously. No one else ever cared.
I would have cared, but he was too distracted, too self-engaged. He was preoccupied and didn't want to pay attention. If a philosopher falls in the woods, can his daughters find him?
If she was listening, and if she was close enough to hear.
Don't lecture me, Adriana.
I didn't mean to, but you could have reached out to him more.
That only works when the other person reaches back. I made a life for myself, and it didn't include Dad because he never included me in his. You asked me if caring described how I felt about him? No, it didn't. The more accurate word is resentment. Because I really would have liked to have a father, not some high-thinking professor who was always sequestered in his office, writing some obscure treatise to be published in an equally obscure journal. I just wanted a regular dad to take an interest in the things I do. Someone who really loved me and was involved in my life, no matter how simplistic and mundane my life was.
You should have been sitting with the others.
What do you mean?
At the memorial. Even the ones who sat closest were still sitting halfway back. It's always that way at funeral services. Only the family members sit up front. The other people hang back, not wanting to get swept up in the sadness. And the less they knew the person who died, the farther back they sit. You should have been sitting in the back row.
That's not fair.
I don't feel like being fair.
Adriana, you were still on roller skates when I was learning how to drive. college yet. You have a great deal more to learn, and you might have learned it quicker if you'd gone away to school the way I did.
Unlike you, I didn't want to go away.
Because you had more to give up than I did. I never blamed you for staying. Why do you blame me for leaving?
It's not that I blame you, it's just...
Just what?
It wasn't only Dad you left.
I'm sorry. I never thought of it as leaving you. I was just moving on with my life.
I know, but the longer we were together, just the two of us, the more he opened up and talked to me. Maybe in the beginning, it was because he had to, but in the end, it was because he wanted to.
Then you had the advantage I never had. And never will have. Now that it's dead.
One day, when I was about 10, about a year after Mother died, we were walking in the park, and I knelt down and picked some flowers, but Dad told me not to. He knelt down beside me and said, "They're only beautiful when they're alive, and they'll die if you pick them, because they're connected to the soil." I said, "We're not connected to anything. What keeps us alive?" He said, "Maybe they're connections we can't see, and we don't know about them till they're broken." He looked sad when he said it, and I told him I didn't understand. He gave me a faint little smile and said, "There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy."
From Shakespeare.
I got the sense he was quoting it more to himself than to me. Like, admitting philosophy wasn't enough. I asked him if flowers lived on somewhere after they died, but of course he knew what I was really asking. He said that everything that dies in this world goes on to live in a world we can't see, a world of the mind and the heart and the spirit, which is why I should never let those things die, because they connect us all to the all we have or ever will have. And we stood up and left the park together,
Without the flowers?
but with each other.
I wish he had been to me what he had been to you.
Why is it someone had to die before my father came alive to me? But now he's dead too.
But you're not. And that's the only thing we can take away from any death. The ones who go on, they go on with their lives. Mind, heart, and spirit, like he said.
And the dead live on somewhere else. Do you believe that?
Millions believe.
But do you?
I don't disbelieve.
Dad talked about it towards the end, when he knew his heart was giving out. So much speculation, he said one night, and no conclusion. So much conjecture, but soon I'll know.
He had philosophy without faith. I wonder if he wouldn't have been happier having faith without philosophy. Unfortunately, I don't have much of either.
I have faith. Faith that I'll see him again. And Mother, too.
It's comforting to think so.
You say it like it can't be true. Like you're consenting to some kind of fiction.
I'm a realist, Adriana. The exact opposite of our father, who was always leaping from cloud to cloud.
Maybe still is.
Maybe so. The only question now is, what are you going to say to all those people that you just disgraced at the memorial service?
I won't apologize. I might say I'm sorry, but I won't apologize.
There's a difference?
Yes. I might be sorry I said it, but I won't apologize for the truth of it.
Anybody that obstinate is going to be all right. You're more likely than you might want to admit. We both live in the practical world, which our father too often avoided. In the long run, pragmatism always prevails over the foolish and the fanciful.
I'm not so sure. That day I told you about, when Dad wouldn't let me pick the flowers, that night he gave me a bouquet of a dozen different kinds of flowers, all more beautiful than the ones we had seen in the park. And with a smile he said, "It's okay. These had already been picked."
Flowers from our father. I can't imagine.
It was a foolish and fanciful thing to do, don't you think? And I loved him for it. Eventually, of course, the flowers wilted away. And we carried them to the park, and Dad laid them among the living flowers. It was like they were all the same, the living and the dead, like everything was somehow related. I think that's what he was trying to make me understand.
Maybe he was right, in his own little way. That reminds me. I brought these home from the service. I didn't want to leave them behind.
They're beautiful.
Yes, they are, at least for now.
Not just for now. Forever.